I think I recall the question. Ms. Mercury, the question before you is if the campaign of Mr. Nguyen had been able to actually conduct a manual recount of the VVPAT, what could he have found?
The results from the manual count of the VVPAT could be different from the results from the electronic totals because of the things that have been suggested before with regard to ascertaining whether there were any problems, but also because the VVPATs themselves are prone to problems themselves. They also are subject to this error rate. For example, we know of instances, numerous enough to fall into that failure rate percentage with these newly created VVPATs, that sometimes the paper jams and it starts overwriting on top of itself, so all you get is one black line. The voter doesn't necessarily notice it, or may have neglected to just notice that they were supposed to confirm that, press the cast button, and then when you get that VVPAT in the collection, you can't read it. So it would wind up being discarded. VVPATs could have, they could be continuing to print after the end of the paper runs out. We know of at least an instance of machinery, again, not necessarily in this county, where consistently paper ran out, but the VVPATs were continuing to be printed, so they were essentially printing on nothing. So those totals would not reconcile with the electronic totals. As well, we also know that if they're using thermal paper, sometimes thermal paper is put in backwards the opposite way, and so when the printout is printed, it's just printing blank essentially. And again, voters should flag that, but they may not have known to do so, again, because it's a new setup.
Right, so based on your experience, a manual recount of the VVPAT would be similar to a manual recount of absentee ballots.
Yes, it would provide an opportunity to challenge on a one ballot per ballot basis on each ballot, just the same way that the candidates and their attorneys were able to challenge the individual votes as to whether they had been damaged, whether there was some, they were unreadable, et cetera, et cetera. So you'd be able to know that, and you'd see that on the VVPATs, and you could throw them out or keep them on a one-by-one basis.
Okay, Ms. Mercury, last area I'd like to cover with you is, you talked about before the noon hour that the original DRE machines didn't have VVPATs, right?
Yes, the original ones that Orange County purchased, yes.
Correct, and that was in 2004, right?
Correct.
They purchased these original machines?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at some point after that, now when they purchased those original machines without the VVPATs, are you aware of what they used to purchase those machines? What type of funds?
I believe that the county used its own funds for that.
Like the foundations type of thing.
Sustain.